Plug in, log on, let's break it down. Truth ain't scared to be found. Dogma shakes when questions rise. No more fear, no more lies. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Sacred text, twisted views. Time to separate lies from truth. Not here to burn, but here to see what survives when the mind breaks free. Deconstruct, analyze, open hearts, open eyes. If it falls, let it be. What remains is meant to be. Cyber deconstruction, let's get real. Faith when challenge starts to peel. If it's built on solid ground, why is it scared to stick around? Not for hate, but for the wise. Truth won't shatter, only lies. Time to start the conversation. Now ain't the time to pretend nothing happened.
All right, how is everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody is doing good. We're doing fantastic. Gonna wait as people are pulling on in. Good to see you too, Eve. Glad to see that Josh was number one. Josh, do you want to be modded over on YouTube? If you want to be modded, let me know and I'll mod you. Oh man, we got somebody on TikTok. Anathema. Things are good on my end. I had a decent route today. The only thing that made it crappy is we had a rainstorm all day today. So I was in a rainstorm all day. Not a problem, Josh. If you ever want a mod, just let me know and I'll put you as a mod. So, and I might have somebody actually already. I think they. We'll go ahead and get them brought up. They are over on. Oh, let me get that. Link moved over here, so we can actually read the prompt. So let's go ahead. I think I got somebody waiting over on Video Ninja. So we'll go ahead and bring them on over. And how you doing, Spiral? You there, Spiral? Spiral, you are live and on the air. All right, Spiral. Let's try this. You're not
Hello,
answering it. Oh.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hold on, Spiral. All right, I can hear you now.
Oh my God, I left this open because I was expecting yesterday's stream to join, and
Oh
I'm in a
yeah.
meeting. I'm in a meeting right now for a college club. I'm an e-board member of. You scared the crap out of me. I thought you were from my meeting. I forgot I had this open from yesterday.
Oh, I was gonna say I came in because I've had people waiting in here. Yeah, yesterday I ended up not going live. So yesterday I was supposed to be off work, and we had one of my coworkers found out that a family member had gone to the hospital, and her route was an hour away. So I didn't get home till like 10
Oh
o'clock
my God,
last night.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Hey,
Yeah,
not a problem, not a problem.
I was in a meeting right now, and you started talking, and it scared the crap out of me.
Hey, not a
um,
problem. Don't feel bad. I don't know if you. Oh, you probably don't. People on TikTok will know who Dean is. Dean was talking with somebody, and their phone connected to their Bluetooth. Or sorry, he wasn't talking to them. He was just listening with an earpiece in. Um, and his phone connected to the speaker system for the school meeting.
okay. Can
So
I ask you something? Because
yeah, go ahead.
my meeting was just
Oh,
ending
there is. Hold
anyways.
on. There is an echo. Let me get that fixed real quick. I know what's causing that echo. Let me go get that fixed real fast. Let me know if that fixed the echo. Can you go ahead and count to 10 real quick?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, that fixed the echo. All right.
Yeah.
What was your
Okay.
question?
I joined your Discord server, and
Okay.
I have to say your mods were very horribly rude to me. And the main thing is, when I joined, I took the wrong role. I took the call-in debater role. So the only thing I could see was the debate channel. And when I was in the debate channel, I said, "Hi, I don't know where else to go because I'm not able to see the rest of it." And later on, when I got into discussion, people were saying, "Oh, he joined the server and he came straight to the debate channel to instigate." That was the only channel I was able to see initially. And I was having a discussion with another Jew, Rabbi Chana, in the server,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd simply, because from where I come from traditional Judaism. I'd never personally seen a female rabbi from my denomination. So I made a legitimate attempt to just learn about where she comes from and have a discussion about religion. I was so many times I said, look, if it's a sore like issue for you, we don't have to talk about it. People accuse me, oh, so you think she needs your permission? Totally not what the sentiment of that was. And I was just trying to be polite, to be civil. One of your mods, Crystal, okay, which I was told, look, speak to Crystal about your conduct. So I said, hi, I was told to speak to you. She immediately started cursing me out. And I said, look, if because
Well,
they were saying
listen,
my
listen, listen, listen. So I apologize about that. So I
yeah,
can talk with some of them. So I apologize for that. So yeah. So Rabbi Hana is she's Sephardi. Um,
yeah.
and if I remember, what sect of Judaism did you come up in?
Or Orthodox, but I just want to say, like,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I get that
and
they view where I come from as misogynistic. They were saying my religious beliefs are misogynistic. That's totally fine for them to believe that. But I want to say, look, from my perspective, I don't believe that to be so, and I want to have a civil discussion about it. And I was told I don't give a shit because I'm misogynistic, so get the fuck out, and I was banned. And multiple times I said, look, can we restart, be civil, have a discussion,
okay.
or not have a discussion? And I just want to
Shoot
say I'm
me.
very disappointed.
What I apologize for that. Yeah, so again, like we discussed before, I grew up in Orthodox community as well. Very rarely, almost non-existent, do we have women as rabbis. However, in the Reform and in Sephardi culture, they do. Um, and
Right.
so yeah, I will.
And
What was your?
I was under the impression that Rabbi Hana was Orthodox, and then later I was corrected, and I said, "Oh, my apologies," but I didn't realize that was the case. But I thought she was Orthodox, which is why I was confused about her being a rabbi when just in the Orthodox denomination that's not usually the norm. So I mean,
Yeah. So
I
shoot
tried
me.
so hard to be civil, and I just want to say
Shoot me.
I think you're good, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry. Go ahead.
apologize about that. Shoot me your name, and I will go talk with the mods over there and see what we can do. I wasn't there. I didn't see what was going on, so I apologize for that. There's always two sides to every story, so I'll go talk with them. But shoot me a message with your Discord name so they'll know who I'm talking about.
And
Unless it is Spiral DJ. Is that your name on there as well?
yeah, it is. I did change it in the server to
Okay.
DJ, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, I'll let you get back to your meeting, but feel free to come up whenever you're done with your meeting.
Yeah, thank you. And then I'd love to discuss other things as well.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and get AK brought on up.
Hello.
How you doing? Let me get this thing fixed so people can hear you. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know he came in, and so I don't. When it comes to some of those like call which I probably need to do too because I technically do call ins now and I didn't before. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I'll go back and
I
read it though.
I don't know. I was just reading. I was just the person above you or above me. Casey said it's still up in the Discord if you wanted to read through it yourself. So I just put it in bold for you just so you can see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely go and read it because like I said, there's two sides
Yep.
to every story. But yeah, him coming from an Orthodox community, um, completely understand. Like don't get me wrong, there can be women rabbis in Orthodox Judaism, but not very often. Not very often. And so, even me, when I first found out Rabbi Hana was a rabbi, I was even kind of like, wait a minute, how, um, because it just doesn't happen too very often. I had never seen one.
I had never seen one either. I
So
thought it was super cool. I was like, oh, I didn't know they
yeah,
could be rabbis.
yeah,
That's awesome. And then I did a little research. But yeah, no, it's understandable. Yeah, I'm sure, life is full of misunderstandings and it's all about just talking it out. Life's too
yeah,
short.
and what it sounds like too is and this is something that's important as well is like in the Jewish community, we're going to disagree about things. We are going to disagree about a lot of things. Um, and in Jews, there's a way we talk. If you've heard Rabbi Hana talk when she gets passionate, like there's a way that we as Jews talk when we're passionate. And again, I don't know the situation. I didn't read it, but it never helps when you got two people that are part of a ethno-religious
Passionate.
group
That are
and then you
super
get
passionate.
and then you get somebody else who's not part of that group coming in and like trying to feed into it because it's like you're not even part of the group like so I don't know what happened. I'll go read it, go find out what happened. Now if it's a case where he was like completely disregarding, as a matter of fact, let me go take a look at this real quick because I do have
Oh, I
the
love tea. I'll sit up here all day long listening to tea.
you'll
I'm sorry.
I'll sit up here all day.
While
So
he's
he
looking it up,
said,
there's 19 people in here. Let's tap that screen. Let's get him to 10,000 likes. Let's share the live. We need to get up to at least 50 shares. Come on now, guys. And he's got a gift goal.
"Yes, I do. Where will I find that discussion at? Because
Hold on, let me.
I looked it up.
Casey. Casey, where would he find it? Type it in there. Oh, lots of scrolling if you start from the beginning.
Okay, there we
The
go.
debate channel.
Yes.
I'm sorry, my ADHD is so bad today. I apologize.
No, you're good. Oh man, this is all right. This is going. Okay, I'm gonna have to go.
It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah, it's long. It's gonna. But yeah, and it also doesn't help. I'm not gonna name who on here, but it also doesn't help when you have people who aren't Jewish, and he's clearly quoting from the Talmud, and he's quoting from it from his understanding, and then you have somebody who's not Jewish that's also kind of
Throwing some like paint in the mix. I couldn't think
yeah.
of a good
Yeah, so I'll go read it later. But anyways, welcome in today. Welcome in. We've got some debates for tonight. Also, if you're not following, go follow Reason and Rebellion. You follow it both on TikTok and YouTube. Tomorrow, instead of this live, will be Reason and Rebellion. It's where we will have Jaron and myself on here. That one we only do call-ins. We don't bring anybody up from TikTok. But for those of you on TikTok, if you've been wondering what exactly is Jaron's views on religion and things, if you don't know, feel free to come on up, ask questions. And tomorrow's topic, I believe, is going to be your God is imaginary. I believe that's a topic we're running tomorrow. And this is going to include anybody's God. Anybody come up, discuss their gods, and we'll tell them why they're wrong. I'm sorry, we'll tell them why their gods are imaginary. And yes, Nas on TikTok, 2 Corinthians 12:16. Paul does admit he's a liar. Yes, and there is also a verse in 2 Thessalonians where God also admits he is a liar. He says that he sends powerful delusions. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
And you've been up before, haven't you?
I think so.
Okay. Well, can I get your age?
23 years young.
All right. And yes, Knight, even Doug turns out is imaginary. I just happen to have Rocky right here staring at me side googly-eyed. Blasphemy. Anyways, Paul, are you a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
All right. My question is, we believe Christianity is false. What's your strongest evidence or argument for Christianity being true? I don't think an argument.
I think I got a song about it.
No, I don't know if I wanna
Did
hear
he say
a song.
a song?
I just want an argument.
Get up, turn your chainsaw on.
Do you got an argument?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it. Yeah, I'm giving him a boot. My live studio wasn't giving me the little option to kick him. I was like, why is it not letting me kick him? Well, that guy came up to say a whole lot of nothing.
I literally thought that was the song that he was playing. Oh.
Are you able to see my guess? So whenever I'm on live studio, sometimes.
I don't think I can see your guess.
Yeah, Hanji, can you leave a message so I can get you brought up? There we go.
I might still have Christian mod powers.
Ah. Okay, we'll get Hanji brought on up. Hey Dugald, how you doing? Also, if you're not following Dugald, go follow Dugald right now. Follow Dugald, follow Hanji, follow AK. Pool Vibes, it's not head. Who else do we need to follow? See who's here that we need to follow. I think that's it. We'll go ahead and get our next guest on up from Video Ninja, and that means we're gonna have to go do some mutes over here so we don't get that echo again. Boop. All right, and how you doing? Guest, are you there?
Hello.
How old are you?
11. Please, can I talk?
No, you can't talk. Like, not even a little bit. Like, that's goofy. Why would you come up on my live underage and do that? That's goofy.
Points for honesty, though.
Yes, but bonus points for being honest. I appreciate it. But yes, the umbilical cord needed to have been cut for at least 18 plus years.
Well, why don't you just pray with Islam or something?
Say that again?
Why don't you just pray with Islam or Judaism?
You want me to summon M's?
No, I think all the Abrahamic gods are false. Do you have an argument for why I should?
Well, just go on about Islam or Judaism or something like that.
Oh, I grew up practicing Orthodox Judaism, and
Yeah,
I don't anymore. Huh?
I'll just credit that.
Can you sound like you're in a bathroom right now? Am I about to hear some splashes of turds landing in toilets?
The only turds I see is in your head.
Well, what I'm saying is there's an echo. Can you pray and ask Allah for some better audio?
Well, anciently Jesus was called Allah.
Oh, well, can you pray and ask Jesus for some better audio?
Well, just go on about other religions. You don't have to always go on about Christianity.
Oh, I do go after the other ones. Do you want to talk about Islam?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, first of all, are you Muslim? Or are you Christian?
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm only going to talk about Islam with Muslims. Yeah, so what's your strongest evidence that Christianity's true?
Well, do you believe in oxygen?
Do I believe in oxygen?
Yeah.
So if I'm getting this right, P1, I believe in oxygen. P2, oxygen exists. Conclusion, Christianity's true. That doesn't follow. Yeah, I breathe oxygen. That doesn't prove. That doesn't prove. That doesn't prove Jesus exists. Doesn't prove Christianity's true.
Anything that's said to you, you're just gonna tie around and play semantics with.
Well, no, I'm just saying breathing. How can you draw the connection to Christianity being true and
Exactly. Why are you
oxygen?
still going on about breathing?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Christianity being true.
Yeah, well, I mean, what can you control? What can you compare it with?
What can I what?
What can you compare it with?
Uh, did people not breathe oxygen before Christianity existed?
Well, the point is you can't see atoms either. You're only told that they exist.
Oh no, you can see atoms. You gotta get a microscope and stuff, but you can see them.
Yeah, yeah. An
And I can feel the wind.
electron microscope.
I can feel the wind. I can see the different states of water. I can feel oxygen. I can move my hand. I can feel it. I can't do none of this with Jesus or Christianity.
Yeah, well, you've really got nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need to come up with a better argument.
Yeah, but
Well, do you have a better argument than just look at the oxygen?
Well, whatever is going to be said, you're just going to try and turn it around to fit your own narrative.
As a matter of fact, I can test oxygen. Do you know how we test oxygen? Yeah, so the way we can test oxygen is required for fire. And so if I start a fire and I cut off the oxygen, the fire dies, right? So we know oxygen exists. I don't know that Jesus exists. So can you give me your strongest argument for that?
Well, that's why it's called faith.
Oh, what else do you believe in on faith alone?
Oh, here we go. Look,
Well, it's your argument that it's faith, right? Hold on. If it's just faith alone that's required, then Hanji here, who believes in the Greek and Egyptian deities, is just as justified in believing that those gods are real as you are believing that Christianity's true.
okay, one last thing. It seems like Christianity is the only thing in the mainstream media that's mocked. If it's so made up, then why?
No, it's not. Hold on. It's not the hold on. It's not the only thing that's mocked. Have you ever paid attention to the thousands of years of how Jewish people have been treated? Have you paid attention to the thousands of years how people who believe in other gods outside of Christianity and Islam, outside of those two gods, how other cultures have been treated by those two communities specifically? Are you familiar with the persecution that's happened there? Are you familiar with the persecution that is happening in the United States due to having this rise in Christian nationalism, which is seeking to take away not only the rights of women, but the rights of the LGBTQIA plus community? So miss me with this like Christian persecution. Like, just miss me with the Christian persecution. It doesn't exist. It's not happening. You what?
You basically said there's no persecution against Christian, and then you just made a case to persecute it.
There's no persecution. I'm calling you a crybaby because you're saying something is happening when it's not.
You just made up a whole reason why you don't like Christianity.
No. Oh, wait. Hold on. Was Christianity not spread by the sword?
No, Islam was.
So was Christianity.
Bro, I haven't heard that before.
You never heard that before? How did what happened? Hold on. What happened? What happened in the Americas to the indigenous peoples here on North America and to them, or North and South America in the Americas, and to them Turtle Island? What happened to them? What happened to their cultures because of Christianity?
Colonialism making stuff up now.
No.
You're trying to
The-
trying to lean on Christianity.
Actually, I'm not, because I can tell you about the. I'm from Alaska. Hi. I'm not native Alaskan, but I'm native to Alaska. So let me tell you a little bit. Yes, Russian Orthodox came over and wiped out people all over the state of Alaska. They
no.
wiped out the
No,
first
no, no, no,
trail.
no.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Yes, they
What
did.
they may have
I had to
done,
take a
they may
college
have-
class on it. I promise you.
Yeah,
Read
well,
the book 50.
who's teaching you what?
Read the book 50 Miles from Tomorrow. Read the book 50 Miles from Tomorrow, and it talks about the atrocities that these people faced. And Alaska's not the only one; it's all over.
Yeah, but sure, who's writing these books?
The people.
But what I
Jewish scientists, if they sue the universities if they can't get in.
The people it happened to are writing the book. The families.
Yeah, you know,
the
the global grievance industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's a black man who says that.
wait. What?
What?
The global grievance industry, multi-billion-dollar industry.
The fuck is he on?
Dude, this is documented history. Like, you're just denying history. Like, are you serious? But the question that I really want, though, is, can you give me an argument for Christianity being true?
As I said before, but you just killed your own argument when you started going on about the rise of Christian nationalism.
Oh, well, just because there's persecution of Christians in your worldview, hold on, doesn't make it true. Hanji, were the Greeks persecuted?
Ask the Ottomans.
How are people? Hold on.
Oh, shut up! He's asking me a question, asshole.
Yeah. How are people who are going back to worshiping the Greek deities in Greece, how are they treated?
Like shit with the Orthodoxy. The Orthodoxy is actually trying to stop it.
Right. So, but you don't believe, not you, Hanji, but Grandma. Grandma doesn't believe that your religion is true. So this would just go to show that just because people have a perceived persecution doesn't make their religion true. So again, I'm going to ask you for a last time, what's your argument or evidence that Christianity is true?
I sent you an invite to unmute. Grandma.
And that is true. Being an atheist in the Middle East or Africa is often potentially dangerous. Very true. Here, I'll send you an invite too. So, Grandma, you can go ahead and unmute.
If you click on your box, it'll pop up, and there's a little microphone that you have to push. There you go.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so hop off the persecution soapbox.
Before, you went on a whole tirade about so-called Christian nationalism in the US.
Do you not believe Christian nationalism exists?
Well, possibly, but I mean, again,
Oh,
you're
oh.
just
And what denomination are you?
I don't have to tell you that because then that just sort of distracts from what I'm talking about.
Oh. Do you know what the early church view of Jewish people was? In fact, do you know when the Christian as a whole church view towards Jewish people changed? Do you know when that view actually started to change?
What view? What?
The Christian view of Jewish people. Do you know when that view was before about 1890?
Well, you've got to have a definition of Jewish people because there was the Hebrews, then there was the Canaanites, then there was the Israelites. And the Jews were only two of 13 tribes that lived in ancient Israel.
The Jewish people, we are descendants of the Israelites.
So, well, a Jew can only be a Jew by the mother's side. That's why there's a whole heap of black ones in Israel that were doing birth control.
Sure. But the question is again, and you've yet to answer it. What is your strongest evidence for Christianity being true?
You just labelled it before when you went on the big tirade about so-called Christianity.
No, because then you have to acknowledge. Hold on. Then you have to acknowledge that the Greek gods are gods as well. You have to acknowledge that Hanji's religion is the true religion.
I mean, it is older.
It is older, and they're still persecuted.
Right, so it's a victim.
So yeah, so your argument is just as valid as her argument. So give me a better argument.
Okay, I'll say it again. So basically the biggest argument is that how it's persecuted and other religions aren't.
Other religions are persecuted. Other religions are persecuted.
They're still being
Did-
persecuted to this day.
Hold on. Are you saying that Christians don't persecute people who practice other faiths?
I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the persecution of Christians and Christianity right to this day. Look at the trust in global media.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. Other faiths are persecuted as well.
Was he dropped on his head? Did he
Because
not hear
media's
what you
pushing
said?
narratives.
They wanted to
I don't-
take them so bad.
I don't think we were going to get any debates there. Real quick, because I might need to start. I might need to drop. AK, I might need to drop you.
Drop me? That's
Oh.
totally cool.
Okay. Yeah, it's because as soon as I brought Hanji up, it started doing that audio thing again. And can everybody hear Hanji? Okay, Hanji, can you just count to 10 real quick?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Let's get ones in the chat if you can hear Hanji okay. If she sounds like she's in a tin can or like she threw her phone across the hallway, let me know so I can go ahead and do a quick restart. Okay, so it sounds like they can hear you okay.
Okay.
Okay, nope. YouTube says you sound like you're in a different room. So we're gonna restart. We're gonna restart TikTok real fast.
Okay.
I hate how it does that, chat, over there on YouTube. I really hate that it does that. I don't know why. Even Justin's been having issues lately, but we've got YouTube restarted. Luckily, YouTube, I can just restart super quick. Gonna bring Hanji back up real quick, then we'll go to Video Ninja.
Wee!
There we go. Now we can hear ya. All right, we're gonna
Yeah,
go
you
ahead
can.
and gonna go ahead and get somebody brought up from Video Ninja. This is gonna be Pablo. Pablo, how are you doing? Pablo, you are live and on the air. All right, we will move on over to Liam. We'll bring Liam up. Liam, you are live. How are you doing? Liam, are you there? I am not hearing Liam. Not even seeing their bars move. All right,
I'm still here, by the way. I'm just changing because I just got home.
You just got home?
Yep. I went to a book signing.
Oh, nice, nice.
Hey, it was free as long as you had your own books. So I took advantage.
Nice. Guest on video. Oh. Guest on Video Ninja, are you there? Hello? Liam.
What is going on? I cannot hear them. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I can't hear either.
Oh, soundboard. See if it's the soundboard.
Oh, I'm not gonna remove the soundboard anymore. I like the sounds, but that's not that's not it though. I'm gonna reload the Video Ninja page. Sometimes the page just needs completely re-uploaded.
It needs a reboot.
Yep. And since we did that, we'll go over here to these properties.
And they're saying they can't hear me, but they see my box lighting up. Technology.
Yeah, I have you. Yeah, I got you muted when I go over to Video Ninja. They were having echoes earlier. All right. All right, Liam, are you there? Just says microphone 1, Liam. I am not able to hear you. So once you get your technology figured out, come on over. All right. Christ is King, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
All right. And let me check something. I'm going to see something here. Can you go ahead and say something? I want to, there over Video Ninja, I want to see if chat still hears an echo. Can you just count to 10?
Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. Did you all still hear an echo? Okay, they heard the echo. Yeah, it's not. No, it's not you. It's on my end. I was trying to get it so that Hanji would be able to hear you. But anyways, how old are you?
I am 33 years old.
All right, and are you a Christian? I'm seeing your name is Christ is King, so I'm assuming so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Christian.
All right. And what is your strongest evidence for Christianity being true?
So it starts back with a book of Noah, or the story of Noah. The Epic of Gilgamesh is confirmation outside of the Bible for the story of Noah. So that's where I want to start.
All right. So if the story of Noah is true, I want you to answer me one question or two questions. First question is, where did the ark land? Like after the flood went away.
Okay, who could answer that question? This is thousands of years ago. Who could honestly answer that question? Nobody has any record. Nobody has any record of where that ark would have landed. We would.
Well, it tells us in Genesis 4:4. Well, hold on.
Somewhere, but Mesopotamia is a large landmass, so.
Well, what does Genesis 8:4 tell us?
I don't know that.
Oh, Mount Ariat. Mount Ariat is where it landed, which is in the Middle East.
Okay.
Question number 2. How did the kangaroos get to Australia?
I don't know. Why? How is this? How is this relevant? How
Yeah,
is this relevant?
because what we can see is when we take the look at like Babylonian
No,
and well, hold on. So when we take a look at Babylonian and Assyrian literature, we can see that there are cases where the Israelites stole from it. So just because we have a flood in the Epic of Gilgamesh,
Tim suggested like 2 days ago that maybe the Earth does a magnetic pole shift every 6,500 years, which would line up with anything you're trying to claim. So I don't
wait,
know.
say that
Are we
again.
talking
Wait,
about
what was that
secular or
question? Hold on. What did you say about the pole shift?
religion? Tim Pool said that there's a pole shift apparently every 6,500 years. So if you're claiming that one thing is true, but like, I don't fucking know. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Wait. So there's not like what do you mean by like there's a pole shift? Like the poles are constantly like moving, but there's not like a 180 pole shift where the South Pole suddenly becomes the North Pole.
No, actually, there is a study that has shown that apparently Antarctica is going to become it's going to become the middle of the equator here in the next 10 years. I don't know if I believe
Oh
it.
no. What I'm saying is, so yeah, there is like a magnetic shift, but it takes like millions and millions of years.
Okay,
It's
don't
not like
interrupt me.
one day. It's just
Don't
like
interrupt
boom.
me. I was gonna fucking edify myself here. I don't know that I believe all that. It's ridiculous that every political party will say that we have a world-ending event coming in the next 10 years if you don't vote for me. The
Well,
Republicans do it.
no.
Democrats do it.
Only people who buy into conspiracy theories believe that there's going to be this world-ending thing that happens. I don't remember hearing anything about this world-ending like natural disaster under Harris. I don't remember hearing that. I do remember hearing some things with Trump.
It was called climate change. It was called climate change. You're ridiculous. Don't.
Oh, we know climate change is happening. We know climate change has been happening.
Okay, so it seems like every fucking 4 years, it seems like it's either climate change or the pole reversal. It's one or the other.
I haven't heard the pole reversal. This is new. But how does this prove Jesus, though? How does this prove... Hold on. How does this prove Christianity, though? Because the question was... Right, the question that you were asked was... you brought up...
I answered your question. I'm all down with the, the Epic of Gilgamesh kind of proves the idea that the Ark of Noah is somewhat credible, right?
No, it doesn't. Not if hold on. Not if it is the case. Let me check something up real fast. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense if it is the case. Like, let's say Abraham did exist, and Abraham came from Mesopotamia, and this happens to be a Mesopotamian myth, and so Abraham just passed it on. It doesn't mean that it happened. It's just a myth that Abraham, who's from Mesopotamia, passed on.
You're qualifying two different things here. I'm talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, where did it originate from?
Mesopotamia.
And where's Abraham from?
Mesopotamia.
Yeah, so if we have a mythology falling in Mesopotamia, and Abraham, who is Isaac's father, and Isaac is the father of Jacob, so, we have the great-grandkids here being the Israelites, hearing stories about this mythology from Mesopotamia.
This is ignorant for you to talk like this. I'm going to tell you, a lot of Christians, I think, are wrong. 100% wrong. They don't agree with evolution. I believe in evolution. I believe in evolution 100%. I believe.
Oh, I don't know what this has to do with the topic
Let me
about the
fucking
Epic of
finish.
Gilgamesh just being mythology.
Let me finish.
Like
Let me
every
finish.
time, like you right now, I'm like Cain right now, and I just choke slammed the fuck out of you, and you just don't even know where you're at, and now you're trying to pivot to something else. So no, I wouldn't say that the Epic of Gilgamesh is any evidence for the flood.
think
It's a case of
it's
Abraham just
confirmation.
passing
I
mythology
think
down.
it's confirmation. Don't misquote me. I didn't say it's evidence. I think it's confirmation. The Bible works off of confirmation. The fucking
Yeah, so give
four
me
gospels.
Well, let's move to Christianity specifically then. Can you name me one messianic prophecy that Jesus fulfilled? Name me one.
Yes, absolutely. The prophecy of the Lamb of God from Abraham, the sacrifice of Isaac from Abraham.
Yeah. So what
Yes,
what is
absolutely.
Jesus? Hold on. What is Jesus referred to as?
The Lamb of God.
Right. And what was provided to Abraham and Isaac for the
ram.
sacrifice?
That was the
Yeah, and
ram.
hold
That
on. And
was
what's the difference? Hold on. And what's the difference between a ram and a lamb? There's a significant
completely
difference.
different species. A completely different species. It's a completely different species.
Yeah, so how would that be indicative? And no, a ram is just an adult. A lamb is a child. A ram is an adult. They can be the same species. But we have a case here. But what we have here is a case where we're trying to equate Jesus to being a lamb when an adult was provided. That's not what Jesus is. That's not indicative of the Son of God. Like, you can try again, though. That was a good try, though. I liked it.
A ram is an adult goat. A lamb is a young sheep. That's the point. It's not. It's completely different species, dude.
Wait. You think a ram is a goat?
Yes.
You think a ram is a goat?
Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, chat. I'm gonna bring this up for chat to see. We're gonna bring this up for chat to see real quick. This is what we're working with, chat. So right here, you will see in sheep, male sheep are called rams. It's not a goat, my dude. Male sheep are called rams.
Goat's called. AI.
It's okay though. Listen. It's okay. I know why you're buying into the conspiracy theories.
Oh, block me off. That's fine. Or are you gonna go AI the other side? You gonna go Google search the other side? What is
I'm on
it?
Britannica, my dude. I'm on Britannica, my dude.
Cool. So, what are male goats called?
Oh yeah, we can look that up. We'll look that up.
Sure, Google it. They're called rams, mountain rams. You talk about mountain goats, they're rams.
They're called bucks. Bucks. Hold on. Yeah, they're called bucks or billies. That's where the term billy goat comes from. And we'll bring this back up for chat as well. I am so glad this is recorded and it's going to be on YouTube for his posterity to see. Male goats called bucks. So no, they are not called rams, my dude.
Christ. No.
I just brought it up. You can go back and watch this, and trust me, you'll be getting clipped. You'll be popping up on YouTube Shorts.
The question anyway? I didn't even hear your question.
Yeah, do you have a messianic prophecy that Jesus actually fulfilled?
Well, yeah, the Abrahamic prophecy of uh, Isaac. So yeah.
Yeah, we just explained why that's not one, and even though you were wrong in thinking it was a goat, but no, Jesus is referred to as the Lamb of God, and God provided a ram. While they're both sheep, yes, one is a child, which would be Jesus, and one is an adult. So no, it's not the same. It's not analogous.
It's absolutely analogous.
I mean, you can keep saying that.
The Adam and Eve prophecy is pretty close.
Which Adam and Eve prophecy?
If you would subscribe to the Orthodox Church, you would understand it a little bit. It's hard to look. I'm not some guy who's just trying to come at you with facts and tell you that you're wrong. Jesus Christ loves you.
agree.
Jesus Christ loves you no matter who you are, no matter what you believe.
Well, Jesus will have to exist first, and you haven't provided
well,
that.
He does exist. But I'm not going to tell you that you're going to go to hell, because you're not. You're probably not. To be honest, if you're engaging these conversations, you're probably not going to go to hell, because you're going to get educated at some point, to the point.
I have a question for you. Quick question. Is God all knowing?
Oh, absolutely.
Does God know, being all knowing, does he know what 10 inches up the poop chute feels like?
That's a ridiculous question. Does our Lord
I'm just curious because he's all knowing.
Does our Lord have a 10-inch poop chute? Probably not. Our Lord created the 10-inch poop chute.
So he's not all knowing. Does free will exist in heaven? Does free will exist in heaven?
You are asking my dream question. You are asking my dream question. I love that you asked this question. Do you have time?
No. We're gonna move on. Chat. That was wild. That was wild. But Liam has come back. I'm going to go ahead and.
I couldn't hear what he said. I wanted to hear.
I'm sorry, Hanji. Liam, how are you? I cannot hear you. Are you able to come on your phone?
Hey, yo! Cyber!
All right, so do you got another messianic prophecy that you're able to bring up?
It's not a messianic prophecy.
Yeah, do you know what a messianic prophecy is?
Simple truth. When Moses was taught the name of God, what was the name of God?
It's Yahweh.
Right. I'm so glad you know that. God Almighty, you're so great. I love.
Do you know how to spell it? Do you know how to spell it in Hebrew?
YHWH.
No, that's how you spell it in English. Do you know how to spell it with Hebrew characters?
I don't know Hebrew characters, but I know
Yod Hey Vav Hey.
I know that educated Jews know how to spell things without including the vowels. They don't include the vowels because
Wait, you think Hebrew has vowels in it?
Yes, it does.
Hebrew doesn't have vowels.
They don't write the vowels.
No, there are no vowels in Hebrew, you goof.
You're wrong. They don't write the vowels. And I love you.
No, the Hebrew language doesn't have vowels. Later on with the Masoretics, the Masorites added indicators for vowels, but the language itself has no vowels. All right, we're gonna try to bring on maybe Liam. Maybe we'll be able to hear Liam this time. All right, Liam.
Is it working now?
I can hear you. Let's see if I can turn you up though.
Yeah.
Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
perfect.
I can hear you.
Perfect, wonderful.
And chat, let me know if you can hear Liam. I have Liam turned up as loud as I can make him.
My microphone is as loud as it's going, so
All right, and can I get your age?
I am 18 years old, sir, so I'm pretty
All
good.
right, and are you a Christian?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, and what is your strongest evidence or proof or argument for the existence of... Oh, sorry, that's the wrong topic. That Christianity is true. I was almost going to run my mythicist background.
Okay, gotcha. So specifically Christianity being true, well, you'd have to start at a couple of places first. So first, I would start at, well, I mean, what perspective are we starting from? Are we starting from like an atheist perspective and trying to go from there? Or are we going from, we accept that there's a God and we're just trying to figure out which one that is?
It's going to be whatever evidence you want to provide. I believe Christianity is false, so it's up to you to try to change my mind.
Okay, so I'm just going to start from the assumption that there's a God, right? So like maybe there's an ultimate being creator, right? We don't know anything about him. We have no idea of like, his intention or anything like that.
And real quick, chats, I'm tired. I'm sorry. He's got frogs in his mic, but we're going to push through.
Sorry.
No, it's an internet thing. It's nothing you can control.
I got you. So as for Christianity, I think that the historical reliability of the Gospels and the historical reliability
Change your goal, Cyber. Left my cat hit it.
which is where we get most of our historical information about history itself. Like we have more historical data of Jesus Christ than we do of many big figures in history, like Alexander the Great. We have 10 times more historical data of him existing.
Okay, can you give me some of that Can you give me some of that historical data? I'd love to hear it.
So I can actually pull up specific manuscripts of the Gospel of John. I think it's P52, I believe.
P52 is the oldest manuscript. Do you know when it's dated
to? Yeah, it's
to?
the oldest one. It is dated to, let's see. Yeah, AD 125. So that's what it's dated to. And it is a copy, so it's not an original.
Well, correct. Yeah, we don't have originals. So do you know where it's currently housed at?
The Ryland's Library Papyrus. No,
yep.
sorry.
And do you know what? Do you know what they date it to?
They date it to. Let's see. That's what it's saying right here. Well,
if you go on their website,
this is their website, the Ryland's Library.
Yeah, there should be. I'm gonna get a goal reset up on TikTok real quick, and then I'll go over and I'll open up the website myself, because you'll see where they actually date it to 200.
200, okay. And even if it is at 200, I don't think that's a problem necessarily. We have the data that we have for Alexander the Great is hundreds of years after he even existed, and we still take that as historically reliable, based on cause and effect of what Alexander the Great did and his historical effect on things. So even if it's 200,
hold on. Well, things with Alexander though is we have contemporaries, right? So we have the Babylonian astronomical calendar that notes his death, right? So the Babylonian astronomical, when he passed away, they heard about it and they put it in. So this isn't anything that's noted like hundreds of years after his death. It's noted at the time it happened. We know of contemporaries of his who were writing about him. We also know that his own historian had been writing about him, right? So we have contemporaries of his writing about him. The issue that we run into with Jesus is we have 0 historians who actually wrote about him during his time. When we look at like the Gospels,
Luke was a historian.
No, Luke was a physician.
He was also a historian. He's considered to be a historian by history now because he actually was more accurate on history and wrote his bibliography of Jesus and his account more accurate than say another historian like Josephus. For instance, Josephus got the name or the title of Pilate wrong. He called him the governor when he
You're
was
thinking
the
of
governor,
Tacitus.
he was
That's Tacitus.
Tacitus. Okay, I'm sorry. It was just Tacitus. Tacitus got it wrong. He called him the governor when he's actually
When he was a prefect.
He was procurator, which is another name for it.
Well,
He's a
procurator.
procurator.
Hold on. A procurator. So that you have procurators and prefects. The difference is procurators are normally kept closer to Rome. They are where military isn't needed because they're not in charge of military. A prefect is also a governor, but prefects control militaries. So
Yeah, and I
prefects
think
are going to
prefect would be more accurate title for what Pilate was.
correct. Pilate was a prefect. So the issue that we run into is, do you know what Josephus says about Pilate?
Yeah, he says he was very. He describes him as being very violent and aggressive.
Yeah, in Antiquities of the Jews, he writes how he had diverted money from the temple. He calls it the sacred money. It was diverted from the temple to utilize something with water, and the people started throwing reproaches at him. And so he told his soldiers to dress as civilians, hide daggers in their cloaks, and then he was going to go out. And if the Jews started to throw reproaches at him again, he was going to give them a signal, and the soldiers were to then take care of it. And it talks about how the soldiers definitely took care of it. Not only were they unaliving the Jews that were instigating this, they're unaliving everybody in sight. And Pilate didn't care. The issue, though, is that you mentioned that the Gospels are accurate. How do the Gospels portray Pilate towards the Jews?
Well, towards the Jews, badly, because, again, if you look at Pilate in the Gospels, he doesn't want to give the Jews what they want. The Jews want Jesus dead, and he does not want to give them that. Now, the cool thing about it, I think, is interesting is that
Well, hold
Pilate
on. The Jews want him dead, right? And we're led to believe that he would give in to mob rule by unaliving Jesus and setting somebody free. But the issue with this is none of the other historical documents that we have with Pilate says that he would ever have done anything like that, especially Barabbas, because this is right before the Jewish-Roman Wars. This is a few decades before the Jewish-Roman Wars. They've been having issues with Jewish rebels, and there's no way that they would have given away Barabbas, who was a Jewish rebel. That never would have happened, never would have been allowed. Pilate never would have done that.
I think we can, again, if you can't just say this historical piece doesn't line up with all the other historical pieces, therefore we can completely just demolish it. Like, no, we have a real piece of history written by a eyewitness account of Pontius Pilate, who gets things right about him that other historians who were well respected don't get right about him. And so I think
who's the eyewitness? Who's the eyewitness?
Well, Luke wrote based off of other eyewitnesses. So
who are these eyewitnesses? Does Luke ever cite them? There's no eyewitnesses.
I can actually read you the hold on, let me read you the prologue of the beginning.
Yeah,
Luke.
You're going to go read where Peter goes, and Peter's going to go and. Are you talking about like the 500?
No. Well, that's talked about in Acts, but I wasn't going to talk about that. Yeah. And it is. We should also note that the literary style of Luke's gospel account is very similar to that of an ancient historian's bibliography of another person's account of the history and the life of another person. And so, it's important to put in an account as well. Let's see, Luke 1. Yeah. So he starts out by saying many people have tried to make this account. They have used eyewitness reports circulating among the early disciples. Having carefully investigated everything from the beginning, I have also decided to write an accurate account for you, most honorable Theophilus, which we have historical data of Luke and Theophilus.
Who's Theophilus? Who's Theophilus?
So he is I think it's shoot, I know it's like a colleague kind of, but it's, hold on.
There's only two
Because I know-
Theophuluses we have in. There's only two Theophuluses we have in history that this could potentially be to, and one of them, by the time Luke is writing, is irrelevant. He's not in any position of power anymore.
Well, it doesn't have to be someone we know like entirely in history, but we do have historical data that he wrote to Theophilus. It doesn't have to be like a popular Theophilus, but it was a Theophilus.
It would be if he's going to be referring to him as the most excellent Theophilus, which would mean that he is a man in power.
The most honorable, and so it doesn't mean that necessarily he's in power. It just means he's most honorable. I mean, even the apostles call each other. Even the apostles give each other these titles, and they aren't rich or powerful.
It depends. Well, hold on. It depends on which translate, because the Greek word there can mean like excellent, honorable, most high.
I can pull up the
original
Greek right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. The most excellent. Let's look up this word right here. The original Greek. So the original Greek word is going to be kritistos, which means most noble, most excellent. Similar words.
Isn't that what I just said? Most noble, most excellent. That's what I said.
Most noble.
Well, no, I said most excellent though, but I said that's what
they're done. These are all
titles.
Because that's in a different translation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are, I use the NRSVUE. So these are all titles that are given to people in power,
Okay, gotcha.
And we'd have documentation of them. Are you familiar with what stellometry is?
No, but I would like to keep going on with this because I think I do have an interesting point on this.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, the Gospel of Luke, we can't just say, because we can point at the Gospel of Luke and say, hey, there's a problem here, there's a problem here. That's great. We do that with all types of historical data. We look at even, like the historian Tacitus who got the thing wrong about Pilate. Hey, he's reliable, but he got something wrong. All right, so we can look at Luke and say, maybe he got a couple things wrong, but we can't say he's not historically reliable because he's most definitely historically reliable, given that we have legitimate history in other sources that Luke talks about.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you a quick question. So who is more accurate, Matthew or Luke?
Probably Matthew, just because he's an eyewitness, like he's there with Jesus.
So the reason why I ask is we run into two issues here historically, right? So when we're looking at, say, the lineage of Christ, right? We are given that both come from Joseph. We are given two completely different accounts. Matthew gives us one account that goes through Solomon, and then in Luke we're given another account that goes through Nathan. But only one of them can be correct. Who is it?
Hold on, let me just double check. I believe you. I'm just gonna double check just to confirm. Yeah, so okay, it actually makes more sense. So, oh yeah, I remember reading about this. Okay, so Matthew, when he puts the lineage of Jesus, he's talking specifically about the biological, like person-to-person lineage of Jesus, where he comes from. All right, he comes from David. That's what it says in the Old Testament. He's going to come from the line of David. So that's where we get that from. And that prophecy is fulfilled
Through Solomon. Yep.
Exactly. So, because of that, that's how we get Matthew's. On the other hand, Luke's is not necessarily a biological. It is a Levitical priesthood type genealogy. So if you read in the book of Hebrews, Paul actually talks about this.
Was David a Levite?
No.
So why would we go through a Levitical priesthood if David was not a Levite? Was Nathan considered
Because
a Levite?
part of his family, no, because part of his family was in the Levitical priesthood. If you actually read in the Old Testament, the Levitical priesthood actually expanded down to. That's why Jesus in the book of Hebrews. If you read the book of Hebrews, Paul ties Jesus to being our high priest.
Well, so hold on. The issue that you're hold on. The question I have though is.
Finish.
Well, but you're wrong though, right? So the issue that you're running into
I didn't get to finish. I was
okay.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead. Tying it together. So the book of Hebrews talks about Jesus being our high priest, and Paul actually outlines in the book of Hebrews how the Levitical priesthood genealogy ties in with Jesus' genealogy, because he can't be our high priest if he's not part of the Levitical priesthood, fulfilling the prophecy. So both are the same. The Levitical priesthood genealogy ties into the David genealogy. They're just giving two different ideas. Also, there is another theory, which that's the main reason we know why they're different. But there is another. Some people say that Matthew is talking about Mary's genealogy and Luke's talking about Joseph's genealogy, so they can be different.
So wait, was let me. Was
because,
Joseph
again,
a Levite?
I think he might have been.
No, he wasn't. Was Nathan a Levite? Because these titles are only passed down through the father. These titles aren't passed down through the mother, right? Birthrights are passed down through the father.
Yeah, well, Jesus' father is God, so according to the Bible, so you wouldn't really get Joseph's title.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't get Mary's either. It wouldn't matter.
Well, he could get Mary's title.
He can't get Mary's title.
Because you can get his biological title. Because
no, he wouldn't. It doesn't pass down through the mother, right? It passed down through Joseph.
In the Bible? Where does it say that in the Bible?
Do you want to go read in the Old Testament where birthrights passed down from the father? Like, you don't know that?
No, the blood. Blood is a very important thing in the Bible, and especially in the Old Testament. Like, that's how covenants are made. So when the Bible talks about the blood, like the bloodline.
Oh, so why is it passing it down through Joseph? Then why do both Gospels pass it down through Joseph then?
No, they don't.
They do.
Well, then we can go with the Levitical.
Like,
and
literally, hold on,
biological.
literally. So we'll read this. In Luke, Jesus was about 30 years old when he began his work. He was the son, as was thought, of Joseph, son of Heli, son of Mahat, son of Levi, son of Melchi, right? Then when we go to Matthew, it also goes up the line from Joseph. Neither one of these are Mary's line.
Yeah, so, what I'm seeing right now is one of the genealogies is Mary's, and Joseph
There's no historians that actually agree with that. No historians, no biblical scholars actually agree with that. It's just a poor apologetic.
I'm on a resource right now I can show you. Let me show you?
Oh, yeah, you just need to find me a resource that's not an apologetic resource that would say it is.
Why can't it be an apologetic resource? Apologetic resources are very historically reliable.
They're not.
They are.
They're not. They're called apologetics for a reason. Where do they claim their source from?
Because we're trying to make sense of the Bible, right? So when you're reading the Bible, you're like, well, this thing doesn't line up with this thing. So how does that work? Well, an apologetic is actually going to be
they made things
an apologetic. Well, you can't just say that. Things in history don't line up all the time, but we find. You can, but it's not going to be.
Do you want another historical inaccuracy where these two disagree?
This point's very important because it's very intellectually dishonest to say these two things don't line up.
What's your source?
No,
what's your source?
Hold on. It's very intellectually dishonest to say these two things don't line up. Therefore, they lied. Well, how do you come to that conclusion? You don't know anything besides that this doesn't line up with this in a very specific way.
Oh, but okay, I know words mean... Hold on. I know words mean words. Hold on. I know... Hold on. You asked me a question, so I'm answering it. Words mean
Okay.
words, and both of these texts say that it's going through Joseph. So if the text itself says it's going through Joseph, and the texts contradict, then I have reason to believe that any apologetic source that says either one of these is going to be Mary's, unless they can substantiate it through historical documentation going back to the time period. I'm just going to outright reject it. It's just apologetics.
Okay, so a couple of things with that. You said you have reason to believe. That's more intellectually dishonest of you to say. No, that's more intellectually honest of you to say. Like, that's a good thing. Like, yes, I respect
Yeah, words
that,
mean
because
words.
now you're saying, no, hold on, you're not listening to me. Now you're saying, I have reason to believe. You're not saying this is what it is. You're saying, I have reason to believe. I respect that more. Now we can come to an agreement on maybe it doesn't exactly mean that, but you have reason to believe. Okay, so now that you have reason to believe, let's look into other reasons as well and weigh our options. So,
All right, what's your source?
we do have. I didn't say anything that needed to quote a source. I was making a logical point. Like, just
I thought you were going to give me a source for why it's Mary's line.
Well, I'm going to do that now, but
Okay, what is it?
What I said from what I said. Okay, so, well, first I want to clarify something really quick. The apologetic, what's the word? The apologetic way of answering this question is actually probably more reliable than the historical way of answering this question, because what we're doing is we're looking at the Bible and saying, okay, there's this discrepancy. So how do we make sense of this? So instead of going outside and saying, can I finish?
Just give me the source.
Just give me the source. I will give you the source, but let me explain why this works, because you said, oh, it can't be apologetic. I'm trying to explain why it works. So the apologetic, it works because we take the Bible and use it to interpret the Bible so we can make more sense of it. So, for instance, if you have a discrepancy between Matthew and Luke, well, let's dig deeper into the Bible to figure out, oh, this is why Luke put this and this is why Matthew put that. So now I can give you the source. Now I'm going to give you the source, and because I defended why it's reliable, we can take it as reliable.
Okay.
So this is from Dr. Mark L. Strauss, from the Zodervian Academic. The birth narratives in both Matthew and Luke help answer the question, who is Jesus and where did he come from? The problem is the genealogies are different. This is obviously a problem, right? Because he brought it up. The Old Testament, as we know, predicted that Jesus would come from the line of David. Both Matthew and Luke provide that genealogies of Jesus that confirm he was the descendant of David. Therefore, he being the Messiah, because he comes from David. But they differ. It's not in a incorrect way. It's actually in an important way. Matthew follows the line of David's son Solomon, right? Like we said, it comes from Solomon. While Luke follows the line of Nathan, another son of David. So these are two different sons of David. That's why they're two different genealogies.
I know. I'm aware.
Exactly. So you're tracking with me, right? So this is reliable, right? This ends in two different genealogies. So why are they different? Well, he answers it right here. Where is it? Right here. All right. So the simplest solution to this, which is backed up apologetically, is that we have genealogies of both parents, which makes sense. Joseph and Mary. In this case, Luke gives us Mary's genealogy, while Matthew gives us Joseph's genealogy, which would make sense because it comes from both lines of David. This makes good sense because Luke's birth narrative focuses on Mary. Like we have, and this actually makes sense a lot, because right at the beginning of Luke, we read the story of the birth of Jesus, and then we go into the genealogy right after which focuses heavily on Mary. We even have the magnificent Mary song of praise in the even before the genealogy. So we go through this heavily pressed on Mary, and then we go to the genealogy, which is more likely going to be focused on Mary. And then this.
So what was Mary's dad's name? Hold on, what was Mary's dad's name?
It was. I should know this.
Because it's not a name that's found in that lineage. It's Jehoiachim, and it's not found.
That's not confirmed.
Spelled Joachim.
That's not in the Bible, that name.
Huh?
It's not in the Bible.
Well, according to the Orthodox and Catholic tradition, that is the name, and they
I'm
got
not
that
Orthodox
via.
or Catholic.
Well, yeah, but they get that through the oral tradition, and so if you're going to deny that, then you're going to have to give up on any oral. Hold on, if you're going to deny that, then you're going to have to give up on any future claims to oral tradition that you're going to have because you're just going to deny the oral tradition.
Well, okay, so we have a couple problems here. Number one, you're catering to the Catholic and Orthodox traditions, which I can say. So you're using a Catholic, a Christian.
Oh, if you're allowed
source.
to cater to, hold on. If you're allowed to cater to, hold on. If you're allowed to cater to apologetics, right? When the apologetics say one thing, and I can show, and Mary's father, because Mary was a Levite, Mary's father was a Levite, and if you're going to say that's the Levitical line, which I could say makes sense, but then I'm able to show you that it's not Mary's line because her father's not mentioned in it. But you're expecting me to just accept your source, but you don't want to accept mine. You just want to dismiss mine. I'm just going to dismiss yours. Now give me better evidence then.
Okay, here's the problem with that. I'm using an apologetic Christian source to back up a Christian claim. You are using a Christian source to back up a non-Christian claim. So it's kind of.
Wait, are you saying the Orthodox and hold on? Are you saying the Orthodox and Catholic Church aren't Christians?
No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake there. You are backing up a Christian claim, just not the Christian claim that I was talking about.
Yeah, I don't have to accept yours. I can just reject it.
Okay.
Because I have a better claim that's backed by oral tradition. Yours is backed by. Yeah, so if you want me to accept yours, I need you to go look at his sources and why is he justified in saying what he's saying? Give me his justification.
Okay. So I can reject the Catholic and Orthodox traditions because I'm not Catholic and Orthodox. And first of all, who says they're right entirely? Second of all, if you're saying that if I deny them, I'm denying the genealogy, that doesn't make sense. I'm saying
you're denying the writings of the church fathers.
Well, I don't care about the writings of the church fathers. That's only for certain. I only care about the writings of the church fathers for certain points of history, not for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Bible and its reliability in the Gospels. So I'm going to
yeah. So what I need you to do then is the apologetic. So I need you to hold on. Listen. I need you to go find Mark Strauss. I need you to find his sources and why is he justified then in saying what he's saying, right? Because according to the church tradition, the early church fathers are justified in having this because they have an oral tradition to where Polycarp trained under John, and this is just tradition that's been passed on, right? So I have somebody who has a claim to have received this from somebody who knew Jesus himself. You need to justify to have a somewhat of a same level of evidence. Or is this guy just saying, I don't like this and just making it up?
Okay, no. So I'm making an argument. I'm not saying what this guy's saying, therefore that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is this. I don't have to accept the Catholic and Orthodox genealogy. I don't have to accept that. Okay? I'm arguing these Gospels are reliable, and I'm going to go into the Gospels and show you how they are reliable. Therefore, I'm using only the Gospels.
Hold on, your microphone crapped out on you.
Is it working now?
No. I can hear you, but it got super quiet.
Is it working now? Is it working now?
No, I mean I can make it work. It just sounds really quiet, but I can make it work.
Okay, so you can still hear me though?
Yeah, I can still hear you. It just got a lot quieter. So yeah, so the issue that we're running into though is like if I look at what the text says, and it seems to me that on face value it is tracing both lines through Joseph. Now, I am willing to grant you that one of them might be through Mary. I can grant that. But then when we look at what the early church says about who Mary's father was, who was a Levite, and it doesn't line up with the line that you are proposing to have been Mary's, well, then we have an issue. So the apologetic source that you are bringing up, that you're quoting, I'm just going to need justification on why I need to trust him, and I just need to know where he gets his sources through. Does he get his sources through a church tradition? Or does he have access to some hidden genealogy family tree that the Catholic and Orthodox wasn't privy to?
Yeah, so I was going to continue to, because he doesn't just say this is why, he gives reasonings for why. So I'll read the source, and I'll read it to you, because I was going to continue reading it. He doesn't just say, oh, it could be Mary, and then leaves it at that.
I don't want to hear the whole thing. Just cut to the point where he gives his justification for it.
Yeah, I was going to do that. So the proposal is linked to the judgment pronounced against the line of Solomon by Jeremiah, who prophesied that no descendant of Jehoiakim, which is in Jeremiah 36:30, or his son Jeconiah, would sit on the throne of David. Jesus avoided this judgment because he was the legal descendant through Mary rather than the physical descendant of David through Joseph. So it's actually an Old Testament justification for it being Mary, not a Catholic or Orthodox tradition for it being Mary.
Yeah, that's found in Judges 11. Did you know that curse?
No, it's found in Jeremiah 22 and Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, Jeremiah. Sorry, yeah, you're right, Jeremiah. I don't know why I was thinking Judges. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think it's.
Did you know? See, the issue with that though is, so the whole reasoning for but that's only in the Matthew genealogy. That's the issue with the Matthew genealogy. Now, did you know? Because the Matthew genealogy, the whole reason why. Well,
Matthew,
wait, what?
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's Matthew.
Right.
So the whole reason why we get the Matthew genealogy is Matthew is trying to show us that if so the messianic prophecies, what they state is that the Messiah will be a king. He will be from the line of David through Solomon, right? But he will be king. So the whole purpose of listing the genealogy is because the Herods were not appointed. They were not descendants of David. Once the Greek invasion happened, the line of David was essentially no longer on the throne, right? So from the Greek invasion, the Greek occupation, the line of David's not on the throne anymore. They don't even know who the line of David is after that. But what they're essentially trying to do, though, is Matthew is trying to say, if the line of David had continued to be on the throne, then Joseph would have been sitting on the throne, and then once he passed away, Jesus would have had the throne. That's the whole reasoning for listing the genealogy.
The whole reason for listing the genealogy is showing that Jesus is fulfilling the prophecy, which he's going to be from the line of David through Solomon. And I think it's kind of a little not honest.
Well, no. The prophecies all state all the prophecies, and we'll go read a few if you want. Every prophecy states that the Messiah will be a king. All of them state he will be a king, right? It's not enough just to be of the line of David. Plenty of people were from the line of David, but just being from the line of David does not mean you can claim to be the Messiah. Because what are the two types of people that are anointed in Jewish culture? What are two people that are anointed? Two types of people, two classes of people.
I think it's the rabbis. No.
Rabbis didn't exist till after 70.
No. The prophets?
Nope, prophets weren't anointed. Prophets are just called by God. They weren't anointed.
Kings were anointed.
Kings, yep.
And,
kings and Levites, the Levitical priests.
Levites,
those were the only people that were anointed, right? What does Mashiach mean in Hebrew? Messiah. And do you know how many times Mashiach is used within the Tanakh when it does not reference Ha Mashiach, meaning the Messiah?
Yeah, there are different messiahs. Yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah, it's used 39 times. Like David is referred to as a Messiah. Cyrus
Yeah.
is referred to as a Mashiach, right?
Yeah, it's
and
not.
so
There's baggage to that. The word Messiah doesn't mean because we have the word in Greek, the I forget the word, like something Christos.
yeah, but Christos
but
is utilizing the Hebrew Mashiach. That's what it's using.
Yeah,
it's just the Greek version of it, right?
but it adds the
So-
baggage of the specific Messiah referenced in the Old Testament. There are different Messiahs, so there's the word Messiah doesn't mean the same word that is referenced as Jesus being the Messiah.
Oh, yeah. So
It's different.
in Judaism, when we talk about the difference, in Hebrew, you have the Messiah. Are you still there?
Yes. I'm
Oh, okay. So in Hebrew, you have Messiah, the Mishiach, just Mishiach general. But then you have Ha Mishiach with the Ha. The Ha means the. So the Ha Mishiach is very different than the other Mishiachs, right? The Ha Mishiach is the Messiah. But because he's using Mishiach, means he has to be anointed, meaning since there's only two classes that are anointed, and to be specific, not all Levites were anointed. Only Levitical priests were anointed. So even though Joseph and Mary were Levites, Joseph was not a Levite in the case of a Levitical priest. He was not anointed. He wasn't a Levitical priest.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right?
I don't have a problem with
So because he wasn't a Levitical priest, Jesus never would have been a Levitical priest. He never would have been
that.
anointed.
No, he wasn't.
As
He
such.
wasn't a Levitical priest. He followed
Correct.
the Levitical line, but he wasn't
Correct,
a Levitical
but he
priest.
wouldn't have
was
been a
our high
priest because you replaced your father,
he was our high-
unless you
no, he
were
was-
selected by the king. The king could
Again, you're
also
missing-
appoint you.
Again, you're missing a lot of reference from Hebrews. He's not a Levitical priest. He is our high priest. That is what it talks to him about. It's a whole different type of thing. It's not a Levitical priest. It's something different. But I did want to
Hold on. So when it comes to the high priest, how is the high priesthood passed?
Through Jesus has it's actually referenced in the Old Testament when what's his name?
How is it passed in? How is it passed in?
It's not passed. It's not passed.
It is passed.
It's no, it's not. The high
It goes
priest
father
is not
son
passed.
father son. The high priesthood
No.
specifically
That's-
goes
that's
father son father
Levitical.
son.
No, you're not listening. The high Levitical priesthood is different than being our high priest. That's something different. Our high priest is a title that Jesus has had through all of time.
So
there's
the
even
Levitical
a
priesthood
name.
doesn't matter then. Then the Levitical priesthood
No, it
doesn't matter.
does. It does. It's not for Jesus.
I think you're just speaking gibberish. Like you're using
No.
things when they make sense.
Do you know who Melchizedek is? Do you know who Melchizedek is?
Yeah, Jesus isn't Melchizedek. That's ridiculous.
No, he's not.
That
Okay, I want to read you something. This is in Hebrews, all right? And you gotta pay attention to this. You said he's not Melchizedek. So, and this is according to the Bible. So we're gonna say, is Melchizedek Jesus according to the Bible? Because I don't want to just say like, oh, he's Jesus. Like, no, I'm saying according to the Bible.
well, before we go to Melchizedek, though, let's finish up
well,
with the
hold
bloodlines real quick. Well, hold on, let's finish up with the bloodlines real quick. So the source that you provided stated that because I don't think he's read the scripture. He states that because Jesus came from a cursed line, which he did, that's why they had to shift to Mary's line, correct? If I heard correctly.
It's not a curse; it's a judgment.
Because Jehoiakim was supposed to be king, but God cursed him and gave it to his uncle Zedekiah. And if I heard
Zedekiah.
you reading,
Well, yeah, Zedekiah, but his no descendant of Jehoiakim or his son would sit on the throne of David.
Yeah, but you mentioned that the reason why we have to go to Mary's line is because if it continued down that cursed line, it never would have worked, right?
That's what this source is saying, yes.
Yeah, so the issue with that is, did you know that later on down the line, Jehoiakim's family, the curse was removed. God removed the curse in the Old Testament. It was removed.
Okay.
But it was removed as the
proposal, it's
Greek
not like
occupation was happening. Well, hold on. It was removed as the Greek occupation was happening. So, and let me go. I'll go read that actual verse. I don't expect you just to take it from me. I'll go find that verse. For
The Jeremiah
you.
verse?
Huh?
Jeremiah verse, or?
Let me go find it. It's Jehoiakim's. Let me go. Jeconiah.
Well, even if it, I mean, this is the proposal. It's still linked to it. You could still use the argument, even if they were uncursed. It doesn't mean anything. It's just all speculation at that point. Because at one point they were cursed, so or they had judgment upon them.
Let's see.
And I think they had multiple, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
the one that they had multiple judgments put upon them, and the one that was removed, because I remember reading this, I don't think the one that was removed was the one that states that their descendants wouldn't sit on the line of the throne of David.
Well, he was going to, but the reason why he I believe it's in maybe First Chronicles, but yeah, it was removed.
But which one was removed? Because they had multiple.
Yeah, that's double checking here. Because, yeah, it was removed, but he never sat on the throne because that's when the Greek occupation occurred.
Okay. So, I mean, that kind of just doesn't really matter. It doesn't change anything.
Well, the issue is that if he was going to sit on the throne, but then the curse, because that would just show me that whoever is given this source is purely saw that and immediately sought for an apologetic for it.
No, that's your assumption on why he did what he did.
Well, no, because if the curse was removed, then there's no reason to say, oh, we're jumping to Mary's line. It doesn't make sense.
One thing I need you to be careful on is making assumptions of people's motives. You don't know if this guy saw it and then wrote it down just to make an apologetic. You don't know that.
Well, you haven't given me a source where he bases this off of. Most apologetics are really poor, and they actually are usually pretty easily defeated. Can you give me why he believes
the lack
this?
of evidence against your point doesn't prove your point.
It does prove my point when I have evidence to the contrary.
But you don't
when I have
evidence
to support my point.
You don't have evidence that he took it just purely for an apologetic out of context.
Well,
and also,
okay, then what I've been asking, what I've been asking for then is I need you to show me why he believes what he believes.
You hold the burden of proof because you said, oh, he probably did this. Okay, show me why he probably did this.
No, I asked for that, but hold on. I asked you for that a while ago. I said, I need you to show me why he believes what he believes. I asked you that about a half hour ago.
He believes what he believes based on the Bible. What? Like, he read the Bible and did an apologetic. That's what you do. You read the Bible and take it from the Bible, and that's the evidence you have. And then you make
so
an apologetic.
It's bullshit. So he believes it because of bullshit, because he can't contend with what the word says.
No, because he takes it as an apologetic. Apologetics is dealing internally with the Bible. It's not just taking.
Okay, then you need to account for why isn't Mary's father listed in Luke's line?
No, the problem you're having here is you're saying, oh, he took this out of context. Which, first of all, he didn't, because I even told you, hey, Jehoram's family and his line, his son, had judgment upon them, and there were multiple different judgments, and only one was taken off. It might have not even been the same one as the sitting on the throne. And even if it was that one, you even helped my case because you said it was during the time of the Greek occupation, which would have cut it off. So it makes sense that this line was changed because they wouldn't even have had it. Another thing, judgments in the Bible, they change. Jesus curses people and takes curses off. So this actually makes sense within God's nature.
No, because it's not listing Mary's dad's not listed in the line.
No, but again, you're saying, oh, Mary's dad is based off of this source. I don't agree with that source. I'm allowed to not agree.
Yeah, but we have hold on. Listen, we have backing for it though. We have support for it. You just have a guy's opinion. Hold on. I haven't muted you yet. You literally have a present guy's opinion. I have the opinions and the writings of multiple people who trace their words back to the oral tradition. Now, if you deny their oral tradition, then you must deny, and this tradition goes before there was a Catholic Church or an Orthodox Church, right? This goes before that. So you're just going to need to then give me an argument for why I need to accept his apologetic that he just came up with over what historical sources say and that historians agree upon.
Wait, so you're accepting the oral tradition that goes back to the original apostles and back further, but you're not accepting the historical reliability of the Gospels from which we get those oral traditions from?
No. What I'm saying is that the lineages disagree, right? So you need to give me an... Hold on, listen. What you're giving me is a guy's apologetic trying to make it make sense, right? But if it's going to go through Mary's line, again, if it's going through Mary's line, then her father, who was a Levite, would be listed in that.
Did you see what you just did there, though?
Huh?
Did you see what you just did there? You know that the church fathers got all of their oral traditions from Tanakh and all of those old scrolls and oral traditions. They got most of that from sources like we have from the Bible. And so when you say, "Oh, I accept the oral tradition," which is from the Bible,
I'm not saying listen. I'm a mythicist. I don't even believe Jesus existed. I'm a mythicist.
No, but I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, I am going to accept. Hold on. What I'm going to do is accept sources in this argument. For the sake of this argument, I will accept sources that are closer to the time period, who claim to have known John, who trace their lineage to John, versus a person who you can't even cite where he got his sources from. It's because he looked at the text and said, I don't like this. It must have switched to Mary's line. But yeah, if it switched to Mary's genealogy, her dad should be listed in it, and he's not.
No, but what you just did there was you just said, "Oh, I'll accept anyone sources who claims to have sorry, the word you used, genealogy from John," and that means every single gospel account. And so you're accepting. You just basically said there you're accepting every single gospel account.
Wait, say that again.
So you said, "I will accept," and again, for case of argument, right? Maybe this is not what you actually would, but for case of argument, I will accept any account that comes from John's genealogy, right? That's what you said, right?
Hold on, because your mic's not working. I'm getting like an echo, so I'm having a hard time hearing what you're saying.
So you said any source that takes from John's genealogy and trusts it, an oral tradition, for the sake of argument, you will accept that too, correct?
Well, what I'm saying is I'm going to accept sources that have backing to it. So what I have is a source, what I have is a source that says, hey, I heard this from John, who mentored me, right? So John mentored me. John knew Jesus and John knew Mary, right? We have this. So it'd go to say that John knew who Mary's parents were, right? So I'm going to trust the sources who were more contemporary to the time period than some guy today who doesn't even have a reasoning other than these don't make sense to me. This must be what happened. But even if I accepted, even if I look at what your guys' source are, because I'm not just dismissing it, the issue with his source is that it doesn't follow Mary's line. It doesn't follow Mary's dad. Mary's dad isn't listed in it.
With that logic, okay? So with that logic, you would have to accept Matthew's genealogy because Matthew also knew Jesus, probably knew his mother.
Oh, that's not what the contention is. Hold on. Do you remember what we're arguing about right now? It's not even about the genealogies. The genealogies aren't what we're arguing. Do you remember exactly why I even brought up the genealogies?
No, hold on. You're changing it, and I want to stay it right here.
No. We've been arguing these because I showed you there's a contradiction in the lines, and you're trying to tell me that there's not. Now, I'm saying that your reasoning is flawed. Thus, I do believe it's a contradiction.
No,
I do believe Luke was trying to quote. Hold on. I'm saying I do believe Luke was trying to quote Jesus's line through Joseph. Now, I'm telling you why it can't be Mary's, and I think my argument has gone through. Now, the reason why we're arguing about these genealogies is because we have two genealogies that contradict. Only one of them can be correct. Now, if you want me to accept Matthew's, I'll accept Matthew's. Sure. The issue we're going to run into, Nan, is when was Jesus born? What year was Jesus born? So we're gonna put the genealogy aside. When was Jesus born?
I couldn't give you an exact date. I don't know.
All right. Who was the king of Judea in Matthew?
Okay, well, hold on.
Beginning of Matthew?
Now we're going to here's what you're doing. You're going down a different rabbit trail, and you're going to try to be like, oh, when was Jesus born, and then all this other stuff. I want to stick with this, all right? I'm pointing out a flaw in your logic, and I have to leave here pretty soon, so I'm not going to be here for much longer. And just let me know, so I'm not just going to leave. You're saying you accept the church fathers because they have a disciple of John who was an eyewitness of Jesus, who probably knew Jesus' mother Mary, and include that in the genealogy. All right, that was what you said. What I'm saying is, well, Matthew also knew Jesus. He also probably knew Mary. So why would his genealogy be wrong? So this is what we're trying to wrestle with. Now, because of the reasoning you gave why you accept the church fathers is the same reasoning why you should accept Matthew. Now, you also said that,
no. Hold on. You're straw-manning my argument. You're straw-manning my argument. Hold on.
Finish really quick?
So, no, because you're straw-manning my argument.
I'm about to leave.
So the whole reason why hold on. The whole reason why we're on the genealogies is because it's a contradiction. We have two different genealogies that seem to trace through Joseph. Now, you're trying to say, well, the one in Luke goes through Mary. Nowhere in the text does it say that. It doesn't say that in the text, right? So I'm saying, where do you hold on. So I said, where do you get your source? You brought up an apologetic, but you're refusing to tell me where the guy who gave you, whose apologetic you were reading, you refuse to read what his source is, because he probably doesn't have one. He probably just said
is Jeremiah 22.
Is Jeremiah 22?
22, 24 through 30. The judgment on Jehoiakim.
Judgment against the wicked kings?
Yeah, judgment against Jehoiakim and Jeconiah. Jesus avoids this punishment. We already talked about this.
Yeah, like I said, though, the issue that you're going to, and let me find this.
And I have to leave soon, so I just want to say one more thing, and then I do have to head out. So, and I'm not just trying to say like, haha, got you, and then leave. I'm just trying to like legitimately, honestly say this. Well, first, let me read something from Hebrews, and then I'm going to say something that doesn't have to do with this argument, just to say, this is why the Bible shows that Melchizedek is Jesus.
Oh, it was in Haggai, so it was Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel, the curse was removed.
Yeah. Anyways, so let me read you Hebrews 5. It says, no, he was chosen, referring to Jesus, by God, who said to him, "You are my son. Today I have become your father." So this is God talking to Jesus. In another passage, God said to him, "You are a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek." So he's in.
Oh, hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on.
No, I'm not arguing anymore. I'm just saying this.
Well, hold on. I'm just going to reject his apologetic right out. Like, his apologetic makes no sense. Zerubbabel, the curse was removed in Haggai. The curse was removed from Jeconiah's curse. Zerubbabel is in Joseph's in Joseph's line. There's no reason to ever need to jump to Mary's line, because Zerubbabel, when the curse was removed, is in the line, and it would be the case that Zerubbabel would have done it. This just shows me that he didn't read the scripture. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't read the Old Testament, or he would have known this. This is a rookie mistake on him. This is such a rookie mistake. Like, I don't even know how he missed this.
Okay, I would be careful if you continue saying that, because again, you missed the point before where I said there were multiple curses and judgments put upon them, and only certain ones were removed.
Oh yeah, go show me where another curse was put on Zerubbabel's line. Go show me that verse.
Well, let me continue. Well, I have to leave.
No. You're making a claim. Go find me that curse. Go find me where that curse was put back on.
Before you interrupted me, I was trying to tell you, hey, I'm not gonna argue anymore. I gotta leave. I got stuff to do tomorrow. I got a full day tomorrow, and so.
All right, goodbye then. Chat. That was wild. That was Hanji's not up here anymore. That was wild, chat. Holy crap. The citation for the curse was lifted. Yeah, it's in Haggai. I'll go find the curse right now. See if we can go find this. See if we can actually find where the curse was removed. I should have just Googled his name. It is Oh, there we go. So it's going to be in Haggai. We'll get this. All right, I'll get this brought up on screen. I just found it. So if you remember, all right, so if you remember, God had, oh, go back here, see if we can find this again. So if you remember, when Jeconiah was cursed, God rips the signet ring off. So here we get is in Haggai on the 21st. Let me get a better edition. I don't like the NIV. Let's get a better version. So what you're going to read here in this, let's see, we'll go find what was the actual verse I am looking for here. 23. So down here, we'll go to God's promise to Zerubbabel. This is Jeconiah's child. The word of the Lord came the second time to Haggai on the 24th day of the month. Speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I'm about to shake the heavens and earth to overthrow the throne of the kingdoms. I'm about to destroy the strength of the kingdoms. Nations overthrow the chariots. On that day, says the Lord of hosts, I will take you, O Zerubbabel, my servant, son of... And this guy was Jeconiah's son. Says to the Lord, and I will make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you, says the Lord of hosts. So that's the verse where they were going to, where the curse is, this is where it's like, hey, the curse was removed from him, where he was able to sit. But he never sat on the throne. He didn't sit on the throne because we had an Greek invasion come in that prevented it. Let me get this thing reset. I am sorry you guys couldn't hear him, though. Like, his mic went halfway through. Right. What about the porcelain throne? Were we sitting on a porcelain throne? Is that what was happening? Hey, real quick, I'm going to do a quick restart over on YouTube. I'm going to try to get those numbers back up. I know that went kind of long, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick restart over on YouTube. So we'll end this stream real fast. I'll be right back. Give me like maybe a minute.